I heard him though. I gotta remember I can dive. I've spent the time since Black Ops 6's release working and workshopping the new tune for this game. I have about 25 guns gold at this point, so that's how much time I have played. I've worked in private matches, I've worked in public games, I've done it all. Before we get into the guide, I wanted to go over a couple quick notes. Please don't skip over this because this is going to answer a lot of your questions. First, don't skip the video. If you need to, play it in 2x or 1.5x, but if you skip around, you're liable to miss some steps. Watch this on a device that is not the computer that is going to have the audio tuned on. So if you pull it up on your phone, a laptop, the TV, doesn't matter, just watch it somewhere else besides the computer that we're doing the work on. I just wanted to thank you guys as well. The first audio guide has over 1 million views, which is insane. And then I also wanted to thank Gadgetry Tech. It's another YouTuber. He is awesome and he has been super helpful. We're actually going to use a part of his work in the tune today. He allowed it as long as I didn't paywall it, and I told him this video will always be free. That being said, if you do struggle with this at all, I offer one-on-one appointments that will be linked down below. You can book 30 minutes with me and we will get you all set up. I'll remote into your PC and set everything up for you. I think people don't realize the reason we're on the old version of Urzikstan is because they started the process of building BO6 Warzone a long time ago, and all those changes didn't happen. So that's the version of the map we had. That being said, they had to redo all the audio occlusion system. And at the last integration with MW3, there were tons of issues with audio. Sometimes the game just does not produce audio. So it's really important to understand that some things will not improve until they make the changes on their end. Area 99 is a little bit better because it's a newer map, but that being said, Rebirth and Resurgence is just always going to be more chaotic. There's going to be more stuff going on, and when there's a lot of stuff going on, when you're in that last death's door, the gugunk, 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 you just can't hear anything. There's nothing to be done to fix that, and we'll just have to wait for updates or deal with it. What I've done with the tune and the 7.1 configuration is just about as polished as the turd can get. Post-edit art here. I finished the brunt of the video last night, staying up way too late to do so. Woke up today, kept working on it, and in doing so, Call of Duty Updates tweeted that they are looking into reports of audio issues, specifically around footsteps, across all modes of Warzone. So they've acknowledged that there are issues like I talk about in this video. There are changes that need to be made on their end, so they're looking into that, hopefully going to make them. What this means for the tune is it should only get better with time. So as they address some of the levels, my tune should be able to do more. And the good news is the way I've designed this, changes down the line will be way easier to implement with some of the changes I've made. So make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you see that video. This doesn't mean we should wait to do the tune. You can go ahead and follow the guide and it should only get better with time. A couple quick hardware notes. This will not work with any hardware that's locked to 96,000 hertz. That's things like the Beacon Mix Create, the Beacon Studio, a couple Audient DACs that I've worked with in the past. Also, devices that are 32-bit instead of 24 or 16-bit. We'll get into that later. Those won't work either, most likely with the Voicemeeter iteration. I have had a couple clients that have come through that got it to work with Wavelink, so your mileage may vary. This also will not work with SteelSeries sonar. The way sonar functions and the way this tune functions, they kind of conflict with each other, so you will have to turn off sonar or uninstall SteelSeries GG before doing this. In this guide, I'm also going to use the Windows key to search for things a lot on the operating system. If you have that off for some reason, you can always go to the Start menu, Programs, and find the application that I'm referring to. Another thing, the audio in the game is really bad right now, and I think it's an engine issue. This happens every integration. Hopefully we get an update that improves it, but what I'm able to do is pretty limited. There is no streaks or footstep or ambient slider in the game. There's only so much that can be done with VST plugins, EQ, and Loudness EQ. So this is the best that the turd polishing can get until we get an update from Treyarch, hopefully soon. When we get into the EQ parts, just because all of the EQ curves are going to match, I still recommend IEMs because just because the frequency response is X doesn't mean the detail reproduction is there. Detail reproduction is totally different from the tonality of a headset, and in my opinion, multi-driver IEMs like the Arites or the Orchestra Lights are just always going to be king for picking out all those detailed sounds. So it may be time to throw those A40s in the bin and check out my tier list, which I will link down in the description below. To make it easier for everybody, I'm just going to have everybody that has the tune installed uninstall it so we can all start from scratch. There are new versions of the apps that have been released that are important for new versions of Windows, as well as some other apps that we're going to add into the mix, and it's just way easier if we start from scratch. So if you go to Windows, you can type in add or remove programs, and this window will pop up. You need to uninstall ASIO Bridge, Hi-Fi Cable. We'll uninstall that. Easy. You need to uninstall EqualizerAPO. This is a newer version. Yours won't be like that because I just did the guide for myself to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Make sure you check this box that says remove configurations and registry backups, and then click uninstall. You want to manually reboot later. You want to uninstall replugs. You click no on this box. And then finally, you want to uninstall Voicemeeter. Once that's done, if you do have HeSuVi pinned to the tray, go ahead and unpin it because it bugs the icon. Just a little note. Once that's all done, you can go ahead and restart the PC. Before we really get into it, I need to make a note about Windows 11 users. If you're on Windows 24H2, which you can check by searching on Windows About Your PC, you'll see the version here. I'm on 23H2. Version 24H2 has an issue with Loudness EQ, whether we're doing it on the Hi-Fi cable or whether we're doing it on your hardware device. Loudness EQ will not work unless you download the drivers for your motherboard audio, regardless of whether we're using the motherboard audio or not. So if you're not sure about your motherboard, you can type system information. This flashbang window will open, and right here under baseboard product, it'll say the motherboard type that you have. MAG Z790 in my case, so I would go to Google, I would search for that motherboard, I would go to the support page on their website, and I would download the audio drivers. Download those, install them, restart the PC, and then we can continue on. Just a quick note, this does not apply to anybody on 23H2 Windows 11 or Windows 10. Linked in the description below is a Google Drive link to all of the applications you need all together. I've put them all in one place, zipped them, and put them on my Google Drive. If you're sketched out by that and you don't want to do that, you can go to each of the websites, but to make it easiest, you can download the app pack. That's what I have here. Once you download it, you'll want to extract all of it. It'll extract to a folder and we'll start. I have ordered everything in the order that we're going to install it. So the first thing we're going to start with is the Hi-Fi cable. So we'll open this, run the installer. You'll just click install. It'll run through its prompts. It'll say, okay, you must reboot. We're going to do that later. Do not reboot until I tell you to. We'll go back. We're going to install Voicemeeter. We'll run the installer. Again, just easy, click install. It'll run through the installer, install everything that you need to. It'll open a web page. We can close that for now. We'll get to that other web page in a second. Again, it's saying reboot. We're to do that later, so you go ahead and click OK. Do not restart. We'll go back. We're to install EqualizerAPO. Click next, click next. It's really important that this goes to the stock location that it's listed here, C/program files/EqualizerAPO. Do not put it anywhere else. Do not install it anywhere else. Leave it alone, click next, and install. It'll install everything you need. Now, this is the new configurator, which we are familiar with from the previous videos. This is a whole long list of devices, but what we're looking for right here is Hi-Fi cable input. So we're gonna check that box, and then we're going to select it in blue. And we're going to go to the bottom of the window and go to troubleshooting. Here, you can see a bunch of options. All we want to do is change this from SFX EFX to LFX GFX. We'll click that. We'll click OK. It'll run through. It'll say it's OK. When you get the two green boxes, you'll hit OK. OK, and finish. We'll go back. Next, we're going to install Peace. Now, this is a new application to the guide, but this is going to make introducing new tunes and EQing your headset way easier. So go ahead and run the installer. It'll check for a new version. If there's a new version, go ahead and download it. Once you're done, click install, click yes, and click OK. And then you can close this window. We'll go back. We're going to install HeSuVi. Click yes. That window will pop up. It'll run through the installer. Again, we can close this window. We'll come back to this in a second. And then we're going to set this later on. So for now, you can just go ahead and close it. If you want to keep it handy, you can pin it to the taskbar at the bottom. I'm going to go do that and close this. We'll go back. Next, we're going to install replugs. We're going to go in, we're going to run the installer. I agree. Next, this is really, really important for the tune to work and for my presets to work. You must install it to this directory, c/program files /VSD plugins /replugs. It must be there. It cannot go anywhere else. Once you've confirmed that, click install, and then you can close the installer. Click OK. The next step is to run the Loudness EQ enable script on the HeSuVi cable that we just installed. So you're going to go ahead and open this. It'll open a text document. We're going to take this command from invoke web request to release time 2, and we're going to copy it. And then we're going to hit the Windows key, and we're going to type PowerShell. Now, it's got to be this PowerShell straight up, and then run it as administrator. Very important that you run it as administrator. It'll open this black window. We're going to go ahead and Control V to paste in the command, and then hit enter. You should have this, whether you want to accept the changes, you're going to hit A for all, or whatever it is in your language. Go ahead and hit enter, and then it'll ask for the device name. So we're just going to type hi-fi space cable input. Must be hi-fi space cable space input. Once you have it entered, go ahead and hit enter. It'll say importing loudness activation into registry, restart audio to apply registry changes. We're going to get to that in a second. So once you're done with that, you can go ahead and close that window. And now we've got to drag in the piece EQ profile. So we're going to go here and we're going to copy the ArtIsWar B06 VST base, hit Control C. We're going to open a new window. You're going to go to your C drive. You're going to go to Program Files, EqualizerAPO, Config. And then you can just paste, Control V to paste that in. And you'll add that here. So next thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and run piece once. It's going to ask if you want to overwrite the file. You're going to hit yes. You can go ahead and click full interface here on the right. And then we're going to want to load the ArtIsWar B06 VST base. All you have to do is click it and it will load. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and close that. We'll come back to this a little bit later. Now, we're not quite done. We need to do something to the HeSuVi cable again. So go ahead and hit the Windows key, type device selector, and you'll open EqualizerAPO device selector. You'll remember this window. So what we're going to want to do is check the HeSuVi cable input again, select it, check troubleshooting, and then with it checked, you're going to want to change this back to LFX GFX. Now you should see all 4 boxes checked here. Once that's done, you can hit OK. It just restarted the audio service, so we don't need to restart yet, and you'll be good to go there. Go ahead and click OK. So now we're done with the installer pack. You can close that window. We should keep this config window here for EqualizerAPO open, but the next thing we're going to do is we're going to launch HeSuVi. It'll prompt the window again because of the piece install that we did. And now we're going to configure this. So you're going to want to set this to Atmos- under Common HRIRs. On the left here, uncheck stereo. And then for the front channel, this is going to be kind of a salt to taste thing for people. I played today with it at 30. And what changed from MW3? In MW3, we were able to lower that a ton, and it turned down our gun. Unfortunately, I think they caught on to that, and they have balanced the new audio system that you can't just eliminate your own footsteps and your gun sounds, but we can bring it down a little bit. My theory here is if it's in front of you and you can see it, you don't need to hear it as loud. 7 was too OP, and 7 is too OD with this current configuration. So I found 30 to kind of be the base starting point. You can go up to 100 if you like. Find what you like. Let me know in the comments down below what you end up settling on. Once that's good, you'll go to LFE and you'll just type 0 there, enter. There's no save, nothing you need to do. Go ahead and hit close. So now we need to do some configuring in EqualizerAPO, specifically in the configuration editor. So we'll hit the Windows key again and search configuration editor. It's right here. We'll open that. You can hit no here. It's asking if you want to install it on the default device. It doesn't matter. We're not using the default device. Just go ahead and hit no. The only thing we need to do here is bump HeSuVi above the piece text. So it needs to go HeSuVi.txt and then piece.txt. Once that's done, you can close this window. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this to get it out of our way for now, but we need to do some work in the sound control panel. The easiest way to get into the sound control panel, especially on Windows 11, since you can't right-click the speaker anymore, is just type mmsys.cpl. I'll put it on this screen here. That always opens it right up. You don't have to click through a bunch of menus, so I'll go ahead and hit enter. We'll drag this over so we can see things. So you'll see with this version of Voicemeeter, there are a lot of extra devices. It's because they added some features to the newer version. We don't need those, so we're gonna go ahead and disable the ones that we don't need. So you do not need Voicemeeter aux input. You can right-click disable. Voicemeeter in 1, you do not need. 2, you don't need. Right-click disable all of these, 1 through 5. The only one you need to leave is Voicemeeter input. So this Voicemeeter VIO 3, you can also disable. The reason they're disappearing is I have show disabled devices unchecked, so it just keeps it nice and clean. Once that's done, we want to select the hi-fi cable, click configure, switch it to 7.1 surround sound, because we're going to create a virtual surround sound cable, and then click next, 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 and finish. Once that's done, we'll select it again, we'll click properties, and you want to name this Art Tune, like we did in previous guides. And then you'll want to come to the Enhancements tab, select Loudness Equalization, go to Settings, slam it all the way to short, and by doing that it checks it, click Apply, click OK. Now we'll want to move on to the Recording tab. So we'll do the same thing in the Recording tab. We'll go to Properties on the hi-fi cable, we'll go ahead and name it Art Tune. We'll come back to this in a second because we need to change some things. Then you want to disable A1, disable A2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll disable B2 and B3. Now B1 you can add to NVIDIA GeForce like Shadow Play, and that will take everything that we're going to add to Voicemeeter and make it into one device so you can record it there. So if you want to do that, you can do that. I, for one, am not going to use that, so I'm just going to disable that. What we need to check is what your hardware device is configured as. And what I mean by this, for me, this is the optical cable that's going to my Go XLR. For you, it could be your headset, it could be your mix amp, what have you. We'll click Properties, and we just need to go to the Advanced tab, and we need to see what format it is. 2-channel, 24-bit. The important part is 48,000 hertz. Right? So 48,000 is our magic number. Yours might be 44,100 hertz. Just take note of that. We're not going to change anything. Hit OK. We're going to go to Art Tune and we're going to make it match that because by default, it's 44.1. So we'll want to make sure it stays on 2-channel 24-bit 48. Hit Apply. Now, if yours is 44.1, you'll leave that 44.1 and then come here and change this to 44.1 in the Advanced tab. But if it's 48, just leave it 24-bit 48 for both sides. We're done here, so now you can just hit OK to close it. Now we're gonna get into that window that you kept seeing pop up on my desktop here. Now, I shouted him out in the beginning, but I just wanted to shout him out again. Gadgetry Tech reviews a lot of gamer headsets, a lot of headphones, a lot of audio gear. If you ever had questions about what DAC to use, he's probably covered it. He's a great dude. He's been super, super helpful with all the questions that I had, and he is so much more knowledgeable than me in so many ways. He also has a lot of really good measurement equipment, and with that, he has created a target EQ that he feels works best for Black Ops 6. I tested it, and why reinvent the wheel if he's already done such a great job, and we are gonna use that target. So, linked in the description below will be his Squiglink. Squiglink is a place where people upload analysis and like very detailed technical recordings of different headsets using special mics and ear rigs and all kinds of crazy technical stuff. So they upload measurements, but they also upload targets. So if you go to that link, you'll see at the bottom here, gaming targets. Warzone 24, Apex, X-Defiant, we're after Black Ops 6. And as you can see when I click it, This is the target curve that he's aiming for. There's a boost to the low end where footsteps are. There's a little dip where the gunshots get a little harsh. And then in the detail area, which is like gravelly footsteps or metal footsteps, he's added a boost as well. Now, this is a great target and we're going to use it today. This is for IEMs. So if you have a headphone or a headset, you'll want to click the headphone headsets at the top and do the same thing. Click the Black Ops 6 target at the bottom. Now, I'm using IEMs, so I'm going to show you guys IEMs here. So we'll go back to IEMs. We'll click the Black Ops 6 V1 target. You can see it here. And then we'll search for the IEMs that we're after. And for me, I'm using my #1 pick on the tier list, also linked down in the description below, the Zygot X Fresh Reviews Arete. Now, they're a great IEM. They still work great in this game, so we're going to just pick them from the list. We don't want any of these gray boxes because those are other people's Squiglinks. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to want to use Gadgetry Tech's measurement here. So we'll click that, and as you can see, it overlays the frequency response, or how it sounds, for those IEMs. So what we're going to do here is we're going to combine the two. Instead of boosting frequencies differently on every headset, which makes it sound different, we're going to take the sum of these and make them one. And it'll make a lot of sense here. So once you have your IEM or your headphone, if you're in the headphone section, we'll go to equalizer, and we're going to go down to the bottom here to auto EQ. What this is going to do is it's going to combine both curves into one. The new green curve is the average of the target plus the headphone EQ. Once you've done that, we'll want to hit export here at the bottom. And we're going to save this as Arete BO6 EQ. Go ahead and click save. And you'll just want to make sure to keep a note of where that file is. It's in my downloads here, so we'll minimize that for now. Now, if you haven't found your IEMs on this list, what you can do is you can approach it two ways. For example, I really recommend the 7Hz Sonus at $50. It's really, really good. I love it as a cheap entry-level IEM. And you can see he doesn't have it on his list because the Arete shows up right here under Fresh Reviews, doesn't have it. So we're going to type Sonus. And what you can do is you can click each one of these, and if you can, there should be a little download button. I'll show you back on here. See how there's these download buttons here? Some people allow you to download them. Some people don't. And the best way to know if these are accurate measurements, you'll usually see a spike at 8K because that's what the recording microphone does. It spikes a resonance thing at 8K. This one you can't download. We'll keep going through the list. Here, you can't download this one. We'll keep going through the list here. We'll try this one from Hawaii Bad Boy. And this one you are allowed to download it. So go ahead and click the little download arrow next to it. It'll save it, 7Hz Sonus, and I'm just going to rename this to FR for frequency response, okay? We'll click save, and it is downloaded. Now, we'll go back to Gadgetry Tech Squiglink, and I'm going to act like I didn't do this yet. We can clear the search tab. We'll go to Equalizer, and we want to click the Upload FR, and we're going to select the 7Hz Sonus frequency response. Click Open, and there we go. We have gotten the target from Hawaii Bad Boy Squiglink, and we've added it here. You can do this for your IEMs. Your mileage may vary because there is some variance in how they measure things with the different microphone rigs, but this is a great way to find your headset if it's not there. You can do the same thing for headset or headphones, but because of the variance in how the ear is shaped, Gadgetry Tech has an ear rig with a certain shape and mics embedded, and the headphone goes over it. So there's so much precision in his recording. Other people's recordings might not be that great, so your mileage may vary. Once you've uploaded that frequency response, it's the same thing. You'll click Auto EQ. It will combine the two, and then you can just hit export again, and we'll call this 7Hz Sonus BO6 EQ, and we'll save it. And that's all you need to do. Now, you can do it another way. If you want, you can download his target here. So there's a little download button. You can click download. I've already done it, so it's naming it 1 Black Ops 6 V1 target, save. And then you can go to somebody else's Squiglink and go to the Equalizer tab and upload a target by clicking Upload Target. We can pick the Black Ops V6 target, upload it, and you can see it's combined it here. Now, if we want to do it here, we can auto EQ, just like we did before, and export. Either way you want to do it is fine. You just got to combine the target and the headphone EQ. Just to show you, on headset and headphones on Gadgetry Tech's page, there are a ton of measurements. We have the new Astro A50Xs, A50s, A40s. There's a ton on here. I'm willing to bet that if you have the headset, he probably has the recording. If you do venture to somebody else's Squiglink, again, because of all that technicality that is in how he measures audio, there's going to be a little bit of variance. So be wary, but my guess is he has it here. Minute Art here. I just set up the audio tune for a streamer that's going to test it out for me. And in the process, I found that the headset that they were using is not on the list. I'm going to run it by Gadgetry Tech and see what he thinks, but for now, I created a piece profile that is the target EQ only. So it doesn't take into account how your headset sounds. It only applies the peaks and dips for the BO6 target tune that Gadgetry Tech made. So there's an extra folder you'll see here, number 9, piece for missing headsets only. Again, you only use this if your headset doesn't show up anywhere on the Squigs when you search for it. So you can go here. There's a piece profile called ArtIsWar BO6 target only. You want to copy that, and you're going to go to C, Program Files, EqualizerAPO Config, and you're going to paste it into there. Now, I'm going to get this prompt that says, hey, you want to replace it because I already have that in there. We're going to just cancel that out. And you can see here, I have the ArtIsWar BO6 target only as a profile. So if I click this and load it, it will load the target EQ. That's as good as we can do for now. If there are any changes or something else that Gadgetry Tech suggests, I will add a pinned comment down below with the update and perhaps do a whole new video. So we're done on Squiglink. As long as you have your profile downloaded, we're going to search piece or open piece. Again, we'll click full interface here, and you want to make sure that the ArtIsWar BO6 VST base is loaded. We're going to go to this little button right here. It's really hard to see. We're going to hit import, and we're going to go to downloads. And for me, I'm wearing the Arites, so I'm going to select the Arite BO6 EQ right here. I'm going to hit open. Now it's going to ask you, do you want to replace the current equalization? Yes, replace, or no, add filters. So we want to click no. I have some things added to the ArtIsWar BO6 base that you need to combine the two. So by clicking no on that window, it combines the two. Once you've done that, you want to click save, and we'll name it Arite BO6 tuned. And you can change the icon color so it changes in the tray. You can add some notes. You can even assign it to a hotkey if you'd like. We're going to hit save. And there we go. We have an Arite BO6 tuned. Now you can do this for every headset you have. So if you want to switch headsets, IEMs, you can create one for each. Every time you make it, you need to start on ArtIsWar BO6 VST base and import the EQs. So I'm going to do it again for the Sonuses here. I'm going to hit open. Again, when it says, do you want to replace? Yes, no, no, no. We want to hit no. We want to combine them. And then we can just save it. We'll name 7 Hz Sonus tuned. And then we can change the color to green if we want and click save. And so now there's the 7 Hz Sonus. If I wear those, I can go to them. If I wear the Arites, I can load that and go to them. You don't need to keep this window open. You can close it. One special note at the top, there's a preamp here, which lowers the overall volume of your headset. This might bother some people because it'll make your audio too quiet, but it does it to remove any peaking that might happen by the EQ that we've added, because we are boosting some things. So try it. If you find it to be too quiet, you can always zero this out, but it will make things a little bit loud, so be wary of that. Once you've made that change, you are going to want to save that again. You can just leave it this. It'll ask you if you want to override it. Click yes. And so now I've saved that preset with no preamp change. So now if you see I go to the 7 Hz Sonus, it has the preamp and the icon turned to green up here. And then the Arite, it's red and 0 preamp. Like I said, that's all you need to do here. You don't need to keep this window open. You can just close this. The next step is we need to set up Voicemeeter. So I'm going to go ahead and search for Voicemeeter or pick it from the program list. We'll let it boot up. And then under stereo input 1, under WDM, we're going to choose Art Tune. And then hardware out. This is where you hear the audio. So what Voicemeeter is doing is taking 2 different audios. The Voicemeeter input, which is one of the devices that has no tune on it, and the Art Tune, which has all the crazy EQ that would make other things on your PC sound bad, and sending them both down to your headset here. So you're going to want to choose your headset from the list. For me, again, it's my Realtek digital output that's going to my Go XLR. Do not pick digital output unless you're using it. You got to pick your headset here. Now, there are some devices that need you to use KS, especially if when you choose it, you see anything besides 512 here. If you see 1056, there's some Arctis headsets that do it. The Rodecaster does it. You do need to switch this to KS and then choose that, and we'll leave this at 512 here. But for most people, it's going to be fine to do WDM, pick your device, go to menu. We're going to want to click System Tray. We're going to want to click Run on Startup, so this starts up every time. And then we'll go all the way down here to System Settings, and we're going to change WDM buffering to 256. If you get any kind of digital distortion or crackling while you're booting your game or playing, you can increase this slowly to 320 or 512. It really makes a minimal difference, but 256 seems to be the sweet spot that works for most people. We can close this. The only other thing I wanted to show y'all is under menu, if you go to shortcut key hook, you can hook volume keys to the level 1 output, right? And what that means is if you click this, when you turn the volume knob or hit the volume keys on your keyboard, it's going to change the master volume that's going out to your headset or to your audio connector. What's really nice about that is you can't turn down Voicemeeter and you can't turn down ArtTune through this. This becomes 0 or 1, so 50 doesn't work. If you need to lower it, I don't recommend using master volume. I would recommend using this slider, and that setting that I just showed you will allow you to connect it to the volume controls on your keyboard. If you don't have volume controls on your keyboard, you can buy a USB volume knob and make it really easy for yourself. If you ever want to reset the volume, you can just double click the top and it will reset. This next step only applies to people that have an Elgato Wavelink compatible device. You cannot download Wavelink and use it unless you have a Wavelink device, at least as of recording this video. So you need a Stream Deck Plus, you need a Wave 3 mic, or you need the Wave XLR. So you can go ahead, if you're a Wavelink user, only if you're a Wavelink user, uninstall Voicemeeter. And what you want to do is add every single device that you have until only this SFX in-game device are back. And then you can click ArtTune, and it will add ArtTune under game, which allows you to use low latency mode. Low latency mode bypasses the ability to use the volume slider to control anything, but it does make the audio super low latency, which I find really important. This is how I use it. I really love Wavelink. I think it's really worth it. It's a great way to EQ and make your mic sound good as well. What we need to do now is test ArtTune and make sure y'all haven't messed anything up. So again, we're with Voicemeeter or Wavelink open, we're going to hit the Windows key, we're going to type mmsys.cpl, and that will take us to the sound control panel. And then we're going to want to open HeSuVi as well. Temporarily, not forever, temporarily, we're going to change the front channel to 0. Okay? With the front channel at 0, you got to click out of it or hit enter for it to actually change. We are going to right-click ArtTune here, and we're going to test it. Now, if it's working, you shouldn't hear the first 2 chimes. You should hear everything else except for the first 2 chimes. So we'll test it again. Nothing. Now I hear the chimes, right? So we can stop testing that. If I turn this back up to 30, you'll hear those first 2 chimes. So we'll go back, 30 there, enter, right-click test. I hear those, they're quiet, and then loud. So if you hear all 7 chimes kind of moving around your head, you know it's working. If you do not, if you only hear 2 chimes, you messed something up. If you need help, like I said, one-on-one appointments are available down below. Make sure you set this back to 30 once you're done, and then we can close both of these things. And because this is set to run in the tray, we can close this, and it will always run down here. When you turn on the PC, it will boot and it will run. The next step is we just need to launch Call of Duty. We don't need to change anything in the config files. If you changed any of those things to true, like I said in the past, go ahead and change those back to false. I tested everything with everything set to false, and we're just launch Call of Duty. Now that we're in the Call of Duty HQ app, we're gonna navigate over to Warzone. We're gonna press start, tab over to settings, go to audio, and starting with master volume, I highly recommend leaving this at 100 just to assure that what you guys hear is what I hear. Any lower and it could affect some of the compression and stuff that's going on. If you do need to adjust volume, I highly recommend doing it either on your headset or in the Voicemeeter slider or Wavelink like I showed earlier in the video. Gameplay music, I had that to 0, no desire to hear that. Dialogue volume, I knock way down because it is way too loud if not, so 10 seems to be good for me. Salt to taste for you guys. Effects volume must stay at 100. It's very important because footsteps are directly tied to effects volume, and then cinematic volume is set to 0. Now the important parts. Speakers/headphones game sound device. You want to set this to art tune. Must be art tune. The tune, all of the stuff that we installed to change the sound, only exists on art tune. Voicemeeter here is no tune whatsoever. So it's a place to listen to browser audio, watch videos, or listen to game chat, which we'll get to here in a second. Speaker output, this is bugged for some reason, so if you back out and go back in, you can set this to 7.1. So I like to put it to 7.1. I'm pretty sure Windows default and 7.1 are exactly the same. I just want it to say the right thing. Now, enhanced headphone mode cannot be on with the tune. I tested this in a previous video, which you can find on the channel. Didn't really find it that impressive, especially with the gun volume. If you turn this on, it will force the game into stereo, which negates the whole point of the tune. So leave that off for now. Now, audio mix. I tested this quite a bit. I am leaning towards heavily Treyarch mix, maybe on IEMs. Maybe if you're on headphones, headphones would be better. Home theater was really nice as well, but there's this weird echo on footsteps that seems exacerbated by home theater. So I don't know so much about that, but this is pretty much your choice. You can try all the ones and let me know in the comments down below what you like. Sucker Punch, I just found way too loud with everything, and it just didn't help with Loudness EQ. So I'm going to leave mine on Treyarch mix. Do not turn on mono audio. None of this is too important. I've seen this setting being talked about on Twitter a little bit, and people are saying this helps turn down ambient noise or something. This doesn't really do anything besides allow you to use these, which are an in-game EQ, and it's a really nice quality of life feature. I've had a lot of clients come in that have worked with heavy machinery, have been in the military, and they don't have symmetrical hearing, meaning they hear less out of their left ear than their right ear, or more out of their right ear than their left ear. So this allows you to, if you went through and you turned everything up here a lot, then you can hear the tone playing, or I can. You could boost this by 50 all across the board. That means the right side will be louder. So if you suffer from hearing loss in one of your ears, you can crank all these up. And what that setting does, this asymmetrical hearing compensation, turns this on and off. So with this off, these will do nothing. With them on, this will affect the audio. Now, this isn't any special extra magic sauce. We've already done all the EQing that we need to do inside of Peace, so you do not need to turn this on. You do not need to worry about anything down there. I also turn on Reduced Tinnitus Sound because it does kind of take some of the harshness off of flashbangs and that kind of stuff. I really find it helpful. Now we'll just tab over to voice chat. Voice chat volume is up to y'all, whatever you need it to be. What we're after here is the voice chat output device. We want to change this to Voicemeeter input. Like I said earlier, Voicemeeter input is the clean audio, unaffected, no tune. It's very important for you consuming media on the PC using voice chat, because if you use ArtTune for voice chat, you're not going to hear very much of voice chat at all, because ArtTune is designed to make the game sound good, not for everything on the PC. That also means in Discord and as the default on the PC, like in the bottom right when you click the speaker, you want this to be Voicemeeter as well. Discord Voicemeeter, default on the PC, Voicemeeter. That will ensure that all the other audio that isn't Call of Duty coming out of the PC sounds normal. The only place you should see ArtTune on your PC is the game sound device in Call of Duty. Another common complaint is with the tune, people say, oh, my mic doesn't work anymore. Well, it's probably because you have it set to default and it changed. So what you want to make sure here is that your microphone input device is actually your microphone. For me, that's line in. For you, it could be your USB mic or your headset mic. Just make sure that microphone input device reflects the mic you actually use. Default device on the PC should be Voicemeeter here. So this should always say Voicemeeter. You do not want the PC set to ArtTune, because that means all of your audio is going to come out EQ'd, and the EQ is only set up for Call of Duty. The other thing that you cannot do is you cannot use your headphones or the audio device, because Voicemeeter takes control of the device. So if I were to go into the sound control panel and try to test my Realtek digital output, it's going to give me an error and say this device is being used by another application. That's because Voicemeeter is the audio routing boss right now. So you have to leave Voicemeeter input as your default. That's your clean audio out. That's it. You've reached the end of the guide. Congratulations. Again, if you struggled with any of this and you need help, I have linked down below one-on-one appointments with me where you can book 30 minutes and I will remote into your PC and get it all set up with you. You'll get invited to the client exclusive Discord where I'll provide ongoing support and you'll have access to cheaper retune options. If you break something or a Windows update, there's a much cheaper appointment than the original one where I will remote in again and fix it for you. Like I mentioned earlier, they did nerf the ability to turn down your own sounds, like your footsteps and your gunshots, so we're not able to do that anymore. And also, based on the new audio engine, there were times when I was playing that I would hear the echoes of my own footsteps off walls, and that's just the new audio engine. It freaked me out, made me stop and look around and be like, what is going on? But it was my own echoing footsteps. I'm sure as I play more, I'll get used to it, but I just wanted to make note of it here. Now, I'm just gonna throw some test clips at the end here so you guys can hear what I was able to squeeze out of it. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are very limited things I can do. There is no footstep, streak, gunshot slider. I was able to massage it and polish the turd to where it is until Treyarch releases an update or Raven releases an update addressing audio. This is about as good as it's gonna get. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure you go over to Gadgetry Tech's YouTube and drop a subscription over there as well. Without his help, I would not have been able to make this accurate of a tune. His EQ target was perfect, and we're to work together in the future to update the target with anything that changes. So shout out Joe at Gadgetry Tech, drop him a subscription. He's a great dude. Now, these videos do take a ton of work, so go ahead and drop a like, subscribe, make sure you click the bell so you know when I upload another video. If there's any changes, I'll be sure to cover them. Some other ways you can support the channel: you can use code ART with HeSuVi to get 5% off. We are now partnered with HeSuVi. I'm very excited to announce that. Code ART at Gamer Advantage will save you some bucks on some blue light glasses that keep my eyes locked in when I'm doing this stuff. And on my tier list, all those are affiliate links. When you click the little thumbnail, those all help to support the channel. I'm live a lot over on twitch.tv/art_is_war. And until the next video, enjoy these samples and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
This is the end game.
Some forward because I gotta level that up. Heard him pretty good. That Zim guy again, dude. Come out like a... I thought it would come out like a... Oh my god, I got really lucky there. Plates? Thank you. Is he on the roof? Oh. Oh my god. Interesting. So you still get zone damage. Ah! Didn't hear him. I mean, why would I over that?
You've got a loadout drop inbound.
Get jebaited. Heard him. Why didn't he fool me? Oh, because he's bad. Dead slide, gotta love dead slides.
Left in the Warzone. Stay.
Let's go! Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Victory.
Heard him. Hear that guy below me.
Enemy moving.
Yeah, good luck. I should have grabbed that.
You've got a loadout drop inbound. Closing in. Relocating station.
Heard him
Enemy
too.
UAV is online.
Oh, we cooked, I think, chat. Like right there?
Hostile UAV in the area.
Weird. Heard him though.